Saludos amigos, KASH here, President and CEO of KASH International Luxury Real Estate, guys. How are you doing? Hope everybody's doing great. I'm coming to you today from the VIP lounge over here at Punta Cana International Airport. Okay, it's a really cool VIP lounge. I've done some videos here before. Right behind me, you can see the guy's taking a little selfie there. You got the airplanes right behind, and right beside, I'll show you at the end of the video, I'm sitting right next to a pool. Where else in the world can you be poolside in the sun at a VIP lounge inside an international airport? Of course, right here in Punta Cana. And guess what, guys? Punta Cana International Airport, they don't have one, they have 3 of these setups like this, okay? So I'm in one, I'm in Terminal A right now. Terminal B, I believe, has 2. Pretty amazing, really cool way to live, really cool way to travel. And what I decided to do, because I'm pretty early for my flight, I'm actually heading back to Canada for a couple days on business, going to see my good friend Pat and check in on a couple things with him. But I am going to be running through, I got a WhatsApp message this morning, and it was a well thought out list of questions. A list of questions by Ryan. Hey Ryan, by the way, thanks for working with us. You're amazing, and we're so happy that Carlos is guiding you through the entire process of finding a place that you love where you live, okay? So this is a big shout out to you, because you had a list of questions. I really like the layout of these questions, and I decided I was gonna go ahead and share it with all of you nearly 200,000 subscribers here today, and run through that so you can all be educated. And that's what this is about. This is about being an informed buyer, okay? It's about being an informed buyer here in the Dominican Republic. That is our goal. We want you to know what you're buying, when you're buying it, how you're buying it, the entire process, so you feel comfortable in it, okay? That's what's key, and that's why we are different, okay? We have our legal team, our Love Where You Live network of professionals. All right, so let's dive right into this. I got about 45 minutes. This might take us about 20 minutes, okay? So here we go. We're gonna start with the first question, and I'm just gonna go off the cuff. I'm gonna read them, and I'm gonna give you my answers to this. Okay, so client of ours buying in Vela. Okay, amazing project. It's one of our top projects. That project is increasing in price here shortly. Okay, I believe by the end of the week. So today's Thursday. By tomorrow, we're scheduled tomorrow or the next week. We're gonna be moving up about 15K to 30K, depending on what unit you're buying. Those are going to be moving up in price. So if you're still interested, we still have a few ocean view units left on the 4th and 3rd floor. Potentially you get that ocean view, 4th for sure. We can still slide you in. Now, if the ocean view is not that critical to you, then you can still get the Gulf views, the Farallon views, which are beautiful. Those are on the backside, and those are going to be slightly cheaper, okay? As of right now, it's all the same. So guys, if you're interested and you're looking at Cap Canada, then this might be your one and only play to get that ocean view at these prices. Reach out, separate topic, 519-567-1785 will guide you. That's where Ryan's at right now on this one. And congrats, you've got this one locked down, I feel. All right, so what we're looking at here is, this is Ryan asked me, what does the HOA include? Okay, so typically, what does the HOA include? That's a good question. Typically, the HOA includes the common area expenses. What does that mean? That means, for example, if you've got a swimming pool, that is common, okay, those common expenses, the lighting in the hallways, security. Another common expense that's very common is the insurance. Insurance is a common expense. Now, when I say insurance, I don't mean of your tables and chairs and your contents. I mean the structure, okay? God forbid there's a hurricane that hits, or earth movement, and you get some cracks. Anything structural, foundational, anything like that is covered in those HOAs in the insurance component. Now, if you want to get your own insurance, that's easy. You go ahead, reach out to me. I'll set you up with someone, and we got really good people. It's not too expensive. You can insure your stuff. Not really needed so much. I'm not giving you advice. This is my opinion right now. I don't think it's necessarily needed. Just ironically enough, I went through a catastrophic situation here about 3 years ago where it would have came in handy. However, it was isolated and shit happens, but typically solid concrete structures, these things aren't burning down, and you're usually okay. So, you know, hedge your bets on that. If you want to get it, it's inexpensive. I recommend you do get it. But is it essential? Does everybody get it? No, they don't. But in your HOA, that's the point. In your HOA, you do have structural insurance typically included. So ask that question. We will in this one. Okay. What would be owner's expense? Okay. I'm not exactly sure on that question, but let me guess on what he's asking. Owner's expenses related to the unit itself on a day-to-day basis. After you own it, you're going to pay for your electricity. You're going to pay for your a component of the water. Usually that's shared, so it's very minimal, 15, 20 bucks along those lines. Depending on how your gas is run, if there's gas, typically there's propane tanks that will run sometimes those aspects of these projects. So you might have a little expense there. What are some other expenses? Really, guys, if you're in a condo environment, that's what Vela is, you're not going to really have too many expenses outside of the obvious. Your internet, your electricity, your water, your gas, stuff like that, okay? That's typically what you're looking at. Now, if you're in an older structure inside Cap Cana or maybe in Punta Cana, let's say 20 years ago, 20-year-old build, for example, like in Punta Palmera, my electricity bill is awesome because I don't pay for my air conditioning, okay? Because there's chiller systems. So look out for that, and we'll guide you on that if you're gonna look for existing construction. If there's chiller systems, that helps your air conditioning prices stay very low, okay? So that's important to know. Outside of that, you really don't have too many expenses. You have your HOAs, and that's a benefit. In the HOAs, yeah, people will hum and haw about the $250, $3, $3.50 a square meter. However, guys, you don't have to hire a gardener, you don't have to hire security, you don't have to hire somebody to clean your pool. All these things are just done for you whether you're there or not, okay? So all that stuff is kind of taken and it becomes hands-free. There is a cost to that, okay? Somebody has to manage that, somebody has to deal with that, somebody has to change the light bulbs. All these things have to happen. That if you owned a villa, you would have to take care of those on your own. Could it be a little bit less? Maybe, depends on the size of your villa, but not definitively. So you can't do a villa to condo comparison in that regard, I feel. You can't just say $350 versus zero. It's not zero because there's an inherent cost in that, and that's something important. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm literally at the airport. Planes are taking off right behind me. I'm leaving here, Punta Cana, I'm flying to Fort Lauderdale, and I'm heading to Detroit, heading into Canada. All right, so let's keep moving along here. I think that's what you were asking me there, Ryan. Expected closing costs, good question. Expected closing costs that you're gonna be looking at here when you are buying in the Dominican Republic is, now there's two variables. If it is a Confiture approved project, you guys know what that is, but quick recap, 15 years tax-free, no 3% land transfer tax when it's a Confiture approved project. Okay, go ahead, ask me about it, send me a WhatsApp, but there's tons of info there that we put on the channel about it. But in a nutshell, that's a benefit. So if it's Confiture, you don't have any closing costs, guys. Only closing costs that you're gonna have, because you don't pay your broker. If there's ever a broker telling you to pay them, don't work with them, okay? Call me right away and let me hook you guys up, because you're getting duped, okay? Because the broker is always paid by the broker is always paid by the developer or paid by the seller. That's just how it works over here. If it is Confiture, you don't have anything except your legal fees. Your legal fees is going to be your main cost. That is your main cost. Now, if in the scenario that you don't have Confiture, it's not a Confiture, it could be a resale project, it could be a Confiture project that somebody potentially bought in a not in a corporation, so they can't transfer the corporation over to you, blah, blah, blah. And you're buying it straight out like I have at Punta Palmera. I bought it straight out from an owner because I love the property. The benefits outweighed the negatives of not having Confiture, so I did it. So then, in that case, you owe a 3% land transfer tax. That 3% land transfer tax is due when you buy it. Okay, so that'll be one of your closing costs. Outside of that, nothing abnormal. You might have deposits for electricity, standard stuff that you're used to, deposits maybe for internet, stuff like that, but nothing out of the norm, okay? It will be that 3% land transfer tax. That would be the primary thing. Now, if you're going to get a mortgage, keep in mind, there is a mortgage tax here. I believe it's in and around that 2% range, that mortgage tax, okay? So you could end up with that if you're getting a mortgage. But outside of that, guys, there really isn't any other closing costs. One thing to note on that is, in that process as well, keep in mind when you're talking about titles, okay? If you choose to use an attorney, which we highly recommend you always use an attorney when you're purchasing here. It doesn't matter how well you know the developer, how good friends you are, all that stuff. You just want to have someone that has your paperwork in order, your best interest in mind, and someone that is liable for your best interest, okay? You don't want to use, typically you don't want to use the developer's attorney because obviously his vested interest needs to be on the developer's end. Okay, so that's something that you want to keep in mind. You don't want to get yourself in that position. So reach out to us. We have our legal team, our Love Where You Live lawyers, specifically in Cap Cana and Punta Cana. They specialize in that market. And then we also have in Las Arenas my good friend Vladimir Alonso at Guzman Ariza in Las Arenas. He will take care of you. And then I got Jose Fernandez in Cap Cana and Punta Cana. He will take care of you. Cap Cana, Punta Cana, and Vista Cana. Okay, I'm talking a lot about Vista Cana, guys. Keep your ears and eyes open for that one. So you'll have that closing cost. What is that price? That price ranges depending on the product, what you're buying, what city you're in when you're doing this, anywhere from 0.08% to 1.5%. It's in and around that range, okay? So it kind of gives you a ballpark. Let's say, for argument's sake, 1%. So factor that in, okay? The 1% for legal fees, but remember, it's an all-inclusive service. It covers everything. During, before, during, and after services, okay? Transferring of all the titles. And remember, the title is yours here. There's no hooks attached. There's no 99-year leases like in the east of the world. It is just, you know, you own it. It's your title. You put it away safe because it's yours, okay? And your attorney, one of our attorneys will guide you in that process, okay? So that is another expense that you can incur. That is 1% typically of the cost of the purchase of the item, okay? So let's say you're buying something for $200K, you're looking at about $2,000. In that $2,000 though, keep in mind, that is an all-inclusive service, okay? They cover everything. Basically, you know, in some of the states you have title insurance, you have to hire someone, you have to pay someone for title insurance. All that stuff is covered by the attorney, and he is accountable and he is liable for that title insurance, for that due diligence to make sure there's no third-party liens, litigation, or taxes owed. All that stuff needs to be handled by that attorney. That's why I say get that attorney and work with ours. They're versed in working with you North Americans, and they're the best of the best. And that's why we work with them, not just with our clients, but personally as well. All right, next question. I'm going to miss my flight if I keep talking the way I do. Expected delivery date. Okay, he's talking about Vela specifically. Expected delivery date on Vela is forecast to be December of 2026. There's a 6-month variance in there, just planning for the worst. If something happens, they're able to make up for that. But December 2026 is when Vela is to be delivered with a 6-month variance in the contract. Okay, so that's something important to know. Typically, delivery dates are all across the board. Typically, you're looking at 24 months. That's the safe one. There are some developers that have vertically integrated across the board. They're very large. They've done it millions of times. They might be able to deliver in 18 months. Okay, Vela, at Vela, we have VAC, my good friend Jay over there. That's one of the scenarios with Vela. Vela is vertically integrated. Architectural, engineering, construction, design, everything in one line, so they're able to execute quicker. Hence, we're saying closer to that December 2026, 18-ish months, okay? A little bit more than that, but typically you're looking at 24, okay, as a rule of thumb, and always give yourself a grace, okay? Don't think things happen on time everywhere, because in construction, there's always delays. You never know what happens. All right, so let's keep moving along here. Short-term rentals allowed. Absolutely, short-term rentals are allowed. Okay, that is a good question, because sometimes in some of the product I have in Piantini, for example, I own a amazing, basically I would call it a penthouse, one floor of a building over there in Piantini. No short-term rentals, only long-term rental. Okay, and that's what I'm doing. I have an amazing tenant. He's amazing. I met him the other day. He's spectacular. And 1-year leases, okay, in certain buildings. So you want to ask. Typically, you really want to dial into this when you're going into the capital, okay, because a lot of families live in these, and very often there could be complications. They might say short-term rental, you get a few families moving in, and then they vote short-term rental out. So I am bringing you a project in Piantini. It is a branded product, Marriott specifically. I'm going to share that information soon. In that, you're safe because short-term rental is part of the DNA of the project. So you want to be careful. You want to be cautious if you are looking for short-term rental, because that is not so easy in the capital, in Piantini area that I love. Okay, so you want to be careful. And on the other end of it, if you're looking for something that you don't want people short-term renting, make sure you're aware of that too. So that's where you need us to guide you. That's where we need our legal experts to be able to guide you. You want to be careful and cautious on that element of things, okay? We do have one client who ran into a really bad situation. I feel for him. I'm not going to say any names, but it really sucks. And he kind of ran into that situation where he bought it for short-term rental purposes. However, there was a situation that arose where the short-term rental was defined as 3 months. Okay, so you want to be really cautious. You want to learn from your mistakes. You don't want that to happen. So make sure that you really drill down and focus on these aspects when you are looking. Vela specifically, guys, yes, short-term rental is completely allowed. Another question that kind of ties into that, and he did ask this, will the community manage this? Okay, some projects require you to use their in-house rental management. They could be hiring, for example, Archipelago, or it could be a branded residence like Hilton or Marriott or anything like that. Sometimes certain units or certain parts of the project are required that you use their rental management, okay? Make sure you're in tune with that. Ask those questions like he is. In Vela, no, there's no requirement that you use them. However, I was speaking to another client recently where she thought when a developer is offering that as a service, that is a value add. No. When it is a confouture project, part of the stipulation from the government to the developer is that needs to be there to drive tourism. What does that mean for you? That means that you must offer a rental management program of some sort to people that are investing in that, okay? So don't take that as a plus, that, oh, they have rental management, oh, that's a plus, I should think about this project more. No, that is a requirement, okay? That's like saying they need to have running water, okay? If it is a confouture approved project, you must have a rental management on site. Now, sometimes developers will hire a rental management company and decide to keep it all in-house. So what they do is they require you to utilize their rental management program, okay? Some people like that, professional Airbnbers don't, okay? Developers will pitch you on that in the format of saying that they can control rents, and then you don't have somebody renting for $25, another one renting for $250, the same product. And there's a little bit of logic to that, I get it. However, typically, the market works itself out, okay? Typically the market works itself out. Someone that's renting at $25 is usually not able to sustain that, and that doesn't last very long. Someone that's overcharging can't sustain that, and the market has a beautiful way of working itself out. So what I don't like at times, unless it's very strategic, is when my clients are restricted on if they can or cannot rent on their own, okay? Or if they can or cannot live there full-time, part-time, etc. Okay, of course there's some exceptions to everything. Depends on location, the type of product, type of hotel, type of branded hotel, all those different things play in. As a general rule of thumb, I'm not a big fan of that. All right, so where are we at? So next question. Can this also be self-managed in a short-term rental? Yes, again, kind of, the question I just answered was touching that sometimes, but you want to know what you're getting into. That's where you want to reach out to myself, Carlos, Bry, or Lila in Las Terrenas, and you want to understand that element of it, and you want to know, ask these questions. These are good questions. This video is going to help you a lot, so bookmark it, make some notes, and ask these questions, okay? Hopefully you're going to work with us. If you don't, ask these questions and make sure you get these answers, okay? Very, very important. What a beautiful day here. I'm really going to miss the weather here. It's been so breezy and gorgeous here the last couple days. Just stunning. Hopefully the sound's coming through on the mic. Okay, so where are we at? Expected monthly fees. We kind of touched on that. Expected monthly fees. We touched on that earlier. What are we looking at with expected monthly fees? You got your HOAs. If you got a loan, you got to service your debt on that. If you have electricity bill, nothing out of the norm, guys. If you're from North America, it's the same kind of stuff, except cheaper, okay? Some things are cheaper here, some things might not be, but most things are. HOA-wise, when you're at that $2 per square meter average kind of price, guys, that's per square meter, not per square foot. Compare that to Florida. It's dirt cheap, okay? So keep that in mind. That's really important. And the fact that you're able to get insurance typically is included in that, or for a little bit more, you're getting insurance in your HOA, that's amazing, okay? And then you have the services, people are cleaning, keeping up with everything. Those are really, there's no curveballs on that. If there is a curveball, you want to be in tune with it, and you want to give resistance, and you want to avoid those projects. And we try to, at all costs, avoid projects that have the right to just hit you with special assessments and randomly toss different things your way. You don't want to be stuck in those situations. Typically with Confiture, that's not happening to you. All right, so where are we at here? Short-term rentals allowed, expected monthly association fees, okay? We just touched on that. Taxes are exempt, but what would the tax rate look like after 15 years? Okay, because Bella is a Confiture project, so it's a really good question. What happens after 15 years? 15 years is done. What do I got to pay in taxes now? Well, it's simple, guys. It's not that dramatic. So what is the tax rate currently? Let's say that this number fluctuates. The first 150,000, I believe it might be at like 160 now, but for math purposes, for quick math, the first 150,000 is basically tax-free, okay? So the first 150 you don't pay tax on. The next 150, let's say you bought a place for 300K. The next 150,000 after the first 150,000 is void, the next 150 is billed at 1%, okay? 1% per year. So what would you be looking at 150,000, 1%, you'd be looking at $1,500. Okay, so $1,500 would be what you would be paying in in property taxes, okay? So that would kick in after the 15 years. That's really important to know. After that 15 years, that's going to kick in, and that's what you'd be paying. So let's say a $300,000 place, you're going to be paying $1,500 a year in property taxes. That's unbelievable. That is absolutely amazing. Okay, so keep that one in mind. Good question. Where can we keep a golf cart? Typically, the projects that we're representing, you do have a parking spot, dedicated parking, so Bella has that as well. You have underground parking at Bella, so that's awesome. You're going to have the parking area, you'll have dedicated parking, so you're good to go there. That's where you park your golf cart, and typically there's extra visitor spots. There always is. You could probably slide a couple things in there as well. Okay, then he asked occupancy limit. This was an interesting question, Brian. It kind of made me chuckle a little bit. Occupancy limits on five. If you're the owner, you're going to dictate that, okay, for the most part. So sometimes, let's say you put 2 beds into your unit. Let's say you have 2 bedrooms and you're going to put a king bed in one room and 2 double beds in the other. So based on the beds is typically how you're going to dictate how many people come in there. But it's your unit. You dictate how many people, okay? So in that scenario, you would say 2 for the king bed, and then you have 1 in one double, 1 in another, okay? So that gives you 4 people. You're going to try to limit that to 4 people. But now let's say you put a pull-out in because you want to be able to have 6 people because your unit can handle that. You dictate that. Now, what happens when someone shows up Airbnb? You're sitting in Canada, they show up with more people. This is where the rental management team is important. You got to have those, those cameras, not inside, obviously, that would be an invasion of privacy, but those Ring doorbells. Okay, you pay attention, be involved, watch. You have someone checking in, you can see them checking in, you see them walking with 10 people and you know the space, they're only supposed to have 4 people. Guys, you want to be on top of that kind of stuff. And if you can't be there, you want to make sure your rental management team is on top of that stuff. That's really, really important. You want to be on top of that, okay? Do your due diligence as well. Be involved in your product. But typically you dictate that. Now, of course, if you say you got a 2-bedroom apartment and you're going to allow for 20 people, you're probably going to hit some resistance from fellow owners and the administration. But common sense usually rules here, okay? So yeah, typically you're not limited on how many, but common sense, you can't put 500 people inside a 2-bedroom apartment. Okay, so that's one thing, occupancy limit. And then we talked, the next thing is for finishes. Is there any options that the owners pick or all standard? It's not always like that. Some projects, yes, it's standard, but most projects that we represent, they give you one variation of upgrades, okay? For example, Desanova, my client over there, Doug Sharon, big shout out, they're getting the option to upgrade to a marble floor tile right now, okay? They might do it, they might not. It's not obligatory, but there's not like this variation of pick from 17 different things, okay? Like here for your countertops, you can pick white, red, blue, purple, green. It's not like that. It's typically, you have your standard, which is typically very good in the products we deliver, but then you also have an option typically for one upgrade. Not all the time, but sometimes. Now, if you choose and you want to do some changes in your unit and you want to upgrade even more, then speak with the developer. Speak with us, speak with the developer. We can engage Jose or Vlad, depending what city you're in, and they can speak with the developer and we can coordinate and do things. People are very creative and very helpful and very resourceful over here. So there's always a will. If there's a will, there's a way to do things if everything's approached in a reasonable manner. Okay, so that's something important to know as well. And Vela specifically, there's not too many. There might be one layer of upgrades, but that will be it. And typically, you're going to pay for that in Vela specifically. They like to keep it clean, crisp, and and that's how they're able to deliver at such a quick pace. With so much consistency because they keep it simple in there, and that's something I know Vela VAC does pride themselves on. Contract to review. Will there be a contract to review along with any other and all paperwork? Absolutely, there's going to be a contract. That's where we talk about the legal team. You're going to be reviewing every single. Make sure every T is crossed, every I is dotted. You're going to run through that, but you don't have to run through that. That's where you hire our legal experts. They're going to make sure they run through that. They're going to run through the contracts. Remember, one tidbit, all contracts need to be in Spanish in the Dominican Republic to be legal. So what you'll have happen, if you're an English-speaking client of ours, then the law firm, whether it's Jose or whether it's Vladimir, they're going to go ahead and they're going to translate that out for you. They're going to explain it all to you. They'll hop on the phone. They're going to hold your hand. Don't feel like this is North America where you're going to be rushed and pushed into, sign this. I only have 5 minutes. Let's go. Let's move this. No. This is the DR. This is where people take it easy and they walk you through it, especially, okay, I don't know if all attorneys here do that, but my attorneys do that, okay? They're going to walk you through this, so don't feel stressed. You're going to look at all the paperwork, all the due diligence. You're going to make sure that there is no third-party liens on your property, that there's no litigation, that all the taxes are paid. You're going to make sure that that there's no mortgages pulled out on the pre-construction on the land during the time of the construction. You're going to make sure all those things. You're going to make sure that the piece of land that you're buying, if you're buying land or doing a villa, that your Des Lindas, that's what they call it over here. You're going to make sure that that is actually the property that you're buying, right down to the geo-positioning of the land, okay? So all those things happen to a T. This is not a by chance and cross your fingers and dive in. It is very, the litigious system, the real estate system here that they've created it for growth, guys. They want this to be the #1 destination in the entire world. And as of right now, it's #1 in the Caribbean with over 11 million people last year. There's a reason for that. There's a reason this economy is growing, because the litigious system is protective of investors. It's pro-investment, and it is there to protect and make sure that what you are buying, you are getting, okay? So don't feel like you're like a trailblazer here. You're joining the party. The party already began, all right? So keep that in mind. We're almost at the end, and I should probably get going here soon so I don't miss my flight, although I wouldn't mind, because I wouldn't mind staying here for the weekend. So the contract paperwork, does underground parking have any access control gates? Yes, if there's underground parking, you will get a clicker. Obviously, you'll have full access to that. There'll be security there. So you're gonna have your security everywhere. They'll be in your parking, they'll be in your main lobby, there'll be someone attending. So you're gonna have eyes and ears everywhere. You're gonna have security systems, all that stuff, guys. Multiple layers of security. If you're in Vista Canada, same thing. You can't even get into Vista Canada unless you're cleared. You can't get into Cap Cana unless you're cleared. You can't get into the village, Punta Cana Village, unless you're cleared, or Punta Cana Resorts. Wherever I'm at, wherever I'm bringing you guys, you need to get clearance. Playa Bonita Beach residents, you need clearance to get in, okay? All of these projects need clearance. So it's very secured and very tight. Where are we at now? So since my client is buying in Cap Cana, he's adding specifically to Cap Cana. So what he's asking me here is there any discounts for owners in Cap Cana? Absolutely, guys. You have a 10% to 15%, depending on the restaurant, but there's a 10 to 15% discount that is allocated towards you as an owner. You'll get an owner's card, your whole family will. When you're out, let's say at Appy Beach, you can use it. When you're out at Noah, amazing restaurant in Cap Cana in the fishing lodge. If you're at Sanctuary Town, where we do our 2-for-1 pizzas on Thursdays, again, you pull that owner's card and you get that discount. So that's an added perk, okay? That's important. Now, different areas we represent, different price point, they offer different benefits, okay? For example, Punta Cana Resorts, when you're an owner over there in Punta Cana Resorts, which, you know, I love them as well. They're just doing such a great job. My man over there is spectacular. You're gonna see so much cool stuff coming from them. You get free access to a gym. You've got this VIP access inside the airport. You've got all these free tennis courts. So there's different projects, different perks. I really do love, I have to say, guys, hats off to Punta Cana Group. The perks for being an owner in Punta Cana Resorts is bar none the best. I absolutely love it. And to be honest, it tempts me to be an owner in Punta Cana Resorts because I love those perks that they give, all right? They're strong, they're powerful. Another thing that you'll get, for example, in Cap Cana, I can say specifically because my daughter goes to Heritage International, and over there you get, like, I don't know what the discount is, but you also get a discount there. I don't know if it's 1,000 or 10%. I don't really know what that discount is, but you get a discount there as well. I'm sure the same thing applies to Punta Cana International if you live in Punta Cana Village or you live in Punta Cana Resorts. Now, when I talk about Vista Cana, I'm super bullish on this one. Ashton School is opening in Vista Cana. I talked to you about that in the previous video. Ashton's opening over there. So what does that mean for you guys? That means that you're also probably, and I don't know for sure, if you live in Vista Cana, you're probably going to have access to a certain discount in there. Don't quote me on it. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's how that's going to play out. So there's an advantage to being in all these communities, okay? Everyone's a little bit different, but everyone is equally as special. All right, guys, I think that just about covers everything, all the questions that the client had. Ryan, great questions. I hope this helps you, but more so, Ryan, you were able to share, I was able to share this across the board with everyone on the channel. And guys, we're almost at 200,000. Please share what I'm doing here, get the word out, and let's push this over 200,000. By the end of the year, guys, I want to be at 500,000. I know we can do it, okay? Let's keep, because things are spiraling in a negative direction in North America. You can see it, like Canadian, that's why I'm going back to Canada. Things are just screwed over there, you know, with these tariffs. People are up, people don't understand what direction the world is going right now, and that's what I love about the DR. Tell me how many times you hear the DR in the news about financial crisis or anything along those lines, okay? It's not happening, guys. We're not involved in the BS of the world. We're sitting here nice and quietly and growing, and people are coming here, and people love where they live. All right, guys, before I miss this flight, I want to say thanks for joining me. Thanks for helping me get to 200,000, and thanks for making us your first phone call. Cap Cana, Punta Cana, Vista Cana, Piantini, and Las Terrenas, guys. We specialize in all those. We have the best of the best. We have good people. That's what it is. We have good, honest people that are going to guide you. All right, and we're all here. And I tell my developers, we love our developers and we love their projects. And if we love their projects, we're going to bring them to you. However, we are the buyer's agent. We want to protect you guys. We want to make sure you get the best prices, you get the best deals, because we're North Americans like you for the most part, and we want to make sure we know how it feels. You feel on edge. It's nerve-wracking. Your first international investment, but guys, trust me, get the one out of the way, and you will be off to the races, and you will understand how simple it is and how we have been able to grow ourselves here in this market. And my wife Carissa is keeping an eye on me. Usually she does all the travel details and plan and gets me where I need to go when I need to get there. God bless her. She's not with me today. I'm flying solo, so she is calling me saying, hey, you're gonna miss your flight. So I'm gonna go on that note, and please remember, hit the notification button. This is the last thing, last thing. Hit the notification button. I had big news coming in Las Terrenas. It's gonna be so big that I won't be able to keep up with things, okay? So what I need you to do is hit the notification button. When this thing launches, in coming days, I can't say specifically, so I'm waiting for the information to come across my desk. As soon as it does, the video goes live, and you're going to want to see it first, because then you send me a message immediately, okay? Send me a message immediately, and we're gonna get you dialed in so you can be one of the first to get one of those amazing units, okay? All right, guys, thanks for joining me here. Please remember, love where you live, and I really hope to see you in this coming year. I hope to see you sooner, hopefully, and I hope you keep the dream alive of love where you live, because you can do it. It does exist, it is real, and it is very attainable. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Thank you so much. Love where you live.